Hey, folks. It is time for your weekly prescription of Lunch with Mel, where Mel is actually eating lunch, which doesn't always happen. Um, but especially now that we're in Atlantic time, it's 1 o'clock, but I got food, so here it is. All right. I have to I am starving though, so I had to run a bunch of errands. I had to go to chiropractor. I have a new chiropractor. She's really great. Um, and so I went to her offices, and then I went to Kent, which is a building supply store in Atlantic Canada, and I absolutely love it there. But they didn't have quite what I needed, so I went to Canadian Tire, and Canadian Tire actually had a bigger selection for lamps of all things, considering that Canadian Tire is like AutoZone and Home Depot had a baby. It's a lot in one store. Um, Plus, like a little bit of clothing. So like AutoZone, a really small top Walmart, and Home Depot had a baby. Anyway, they had a lot of lamps, so I got some there, and I got one that's actually like gonna hurt my brain eventually. Here, I might have to run over and stop it. It's like the one behind me, but I left it set on like a moving pattern, and it's killing me. Um, but hey, folks, happy to have you here, and I will try not to eat too much while we're chatting. I might have to mute once or twice and just like quickly shovel some food in. I'm almost done. Jill made angel hair pasta, and it's delicious. Hey, Monique, how are you doing? And everybody, feel free to throw a comment in the chat. Say hi. It's always nice to see who's here and hear from you guys. I do have a topic today planned. It's in the title. It's running ads in this economy, which I just thought was funny time. But as always, if you guys have any thoughts, comments on things going on, questions, you're always welcome to drop those whenever you wish. I'm going to try. Oh, I failed already. I was going to try not to get like spaghetti sauce all over my mouth, and I am not doing a good job. When I saw that Jill was making pasta, I said that I too would like pasta. That may not have been the most well thought out thing at all. Hello, Jillian. How are you doing today? I'm looking forward to sprinting again today. Hopefully you can make it. But if not, I understand. No pressure. Hey, Rosa. How's it going? So yeah, curious how folks are doing. Can you believe that this is May? This year is simultaneously the fastest moving year, the slowest moving year, all at the same time. It also like occurred to me that while I was looking through some messages and whatnot, it is only 6 weeks since we secured the this rental that we're in. Well, I guess maybe it's 4 weeks since the rental, 6 weeks since we secured the moving truck, and we've been here for 3 weeks. So it's like, well, not quite. It'll be 3 weeks on Saturday that we've been here for. So it's like it just feels weird to have it go this fast. And for those of you who don't like follow everything I do, which is totally understandable, we moved to Canada, so that's why I'm broadcasting from what may, to the keen-eyed, will be viewable, be clear as a new location, but many of the things behind me are the same. So I would not fault anyone who didn't realize that this is the same place. I'll do the time warp again. Exactly, Troy. Yes. So yeah, one of the thing I want to talk about, no one else is throwing other topics out. I don't want to like do mine first. I want to like hold on to it like close to my chest until we can I can like put it at the end. But we don't have to. So I'm one of the things I've noticed, and I'm sure many other people have noticed, that ads are kind of expensive this year. And by expensive, I mean cost per click wise. Um, Normally after Christmas, the CPCs come down a lot and they stay pretty low until like they creep up a bit in summer, and they slowly they meander around a bunch throughout the year. But usually it's not too hard to get cost per clicks in the teens after Christmas. And especially as we get into late spring. Usually late spring is actually pretty good for cost per click. And it's a little bit more expensive this year. It's actually, for a lot of people, I've been finding it hard and seeing them having a hard time getting cost per clicks in the teens. Usually it's like low 20s. Unless you're like super mainstream, you're going to be, you should be able to get in the high teens. But like getting CPCs down around 10, 11, 12 cents per click, like we would get this time last year, has been difficult. And I'm curious if anyone here who's running ads is seeing a similar thing. I don't know everybody's currently running ads, so that may not be the case. But something that I want to discuss is the possibility of showing your ads. Well, two things: showing your ads only to people on the desktop, not on mobile devices, and also showing your ads only to people under 65. That is something that both of these are things you can test, and they both may be things that they might either lower your cost per click, they might raise your cost per click in some cases, but oftentimes they increase your conversions. And so I want to kind of talk about that. I'm gonna try a crazy new thing here. We'll see how it works. A lot of times I just sort of talk about these numbers, and I'm sure some people's eyes glaze over because you can't do math just from seeing it. So today I'm going to try using a whiteboard app, and and we're going to see if I can just sort of draw this out. So imagine if you will, if we have a 20-cent cost per click. Oh, this is going to be bad. This is not good. There we go, 20 cent. And we're getting sort of a golden metric that I use a lot for when an ad starts to become profitable, if you're in KU, is getting 10 pages read per click. So if we were to say like, okay, 20 cents per click, we're able to get actually, I'm going to make my math really easy for myself here. We are able to get those 10 pages per click, 10 pages read per click. Oh, I need to get a tablet if I want to do this in the future, eh? The A is coming back strong, by the way. My A never fully went away, even though I was in the States for decades. But now that I'm back in Canada, like all the time, the A is getting in there. All right. So 20 pages read per click at 20 cents per click. You're thinking like, okay, that's pretty good. But what if I told you you're able to take your ads and change them to only show on the desktop? But when you do that, you are now going to pay, being a little bit more careful here, 30 cents per click. And normally I would tell you that 30 cents per click is like sort of an unacceptable amount of money that you'd be paying per page read. By the way, 20 cents per click, 10 pages read per click means you're paying 2 cents. Cent symbol there, 2 cents per page that the attribution system is reporting. Now, of course, you're like, dear God, Mal, I get paid less than half a cent per page read. How is this profitable? And the reason why they said this is where you start to move into profitability is because you're going to get some sales and you're going to get read through that the system doesn't track. We're talking about the attribution, Amazon attribution data too here, where Amazon attribution has like a special link you can put in, and it will show you how many page reads you get from a given ad or even your newsletter or something like that. So it misses a lot of the data, misses most of your read through and whatnot. So this number, and it only tracks the activity following a given click for 2 weeks. If you got a 10-book series, no one's reading 10 books in 2 weeks. Okay, some people are reading 10 books in 2 weeks. Most people are not. So 20 cents per click, 10 pages read per click. We're paying 2 cents per page with read through. We're probably break even. All right. If you guys, let me know if you guys are with me or not here at this point. I think we're pretty squared away here. So sometimes if you choose the option to only show your ads on desktop, and I'll show you how to do this, you can actually sometimes see numbers, especially right when you first do this, when you first flip an ad over to desktop only for the first month or so, you can get numbers clear up to, I was just looking at someone's ads just yesterday. We were at 50 pages read per click. 50 pages read per click is rare. And ironically seems to only happen in romance right now to get crazy numbers that high. Let's say you get 20 pages read per click. Now your gut would tell you, 30 cents, 30 cent per click ad, that's costing me a lot of money, PRPC. I'm getting better at this. I'm getting better at like writing legibly on this whiteboard here. But 20 pages read at 30 cents per click. Well, that's 1.5 cents per click, right? Math that seems really easy defeats me a lot when I am when I'm reading or when I'm also talking. 30 divided by 20. Yeah, 1.5. Okay, good. My brain isn't completely broken. So 1.5 cents per page. That's how much you're paying per click. So you can see how, even though you're like, might look at your ads in the ad manager and be like, oh, this one 30 cents per click, this one 20 cents per click. I think I'm gonna keep the 20 cent per click ad. And you turn off 3 cent per click one. It was actually more profitable. So it does make sense to actually look at those numbers. Now, let's say, just for example, you've got this thing that's it's at 20 cents per click, it's getting you 8 pages read per click. What does that work out to? So now we've got 20 divided by 8. Now that's 2.5 cents per click, or 2.5 cents per page read that you're paying. So that number can, your profitability on an ad, even though we sort of got these baseline metrics, I always say, like, ads over 30 cents, you should probably consider killing them and that sort of thing. You do really want to look at your conversion, because a high cost per click ad, you know, can still be profitable if you're getting really good conversions. And I'm not entirely sure, everybody, we all think about that all the time. We just see this expensive number here and we're like, oh my God, number big, I don't like it. And then get sad and turn it off. When, between these two ads, one of them is significantly more profitable and it's the more expensive ad. Um, so do consider that number, that information here. Like, look um, at your pages read per click and your cost, and work out how much money it is costing you per page, and then think about which ad is the better ad to roll with. And you can sort of see some more extreme examples. Like, I've got a client right now. I've actually not done this math with the current numbers that I saw this morning. Um, the ad is at 47 cents per click. 47 cents per click. They are getting it's like 42 pages read per click, I think it was, something in that neighborhood. So 42 pages read per click. You can see where this is going. So 47 divided by 42 is 1.1 cents per page read. 1.1. Well, actually 1.12. There we go. We'll be like hardcore about it. 1.12 pages cost. Doesn't make sense. It cost per page read in advertising costs. So you can see that, like, despite that ad, you look at that and you're like, Mal, what are you doing? You're screwing this person. Running an ad for them is costing 47 cents per click. I'm like, look at how many pages I'm getting read per click, right? I am getting like really good PRPC. That's a new thing I just made up. I mean, I didn't make up pages read per click, but calling it PRPC, it's like the first time I've ever said that out loud, and it feels weird. Anyway, and I was like, and out of these scenarios, that's the most profitable ad. And a lot of times, like I said, we'd look at our ads and be like, oh, these ones here down here, these are ridiculous. Turn these things off. Keep this one here. As it turns out, this ad down here, this one here is our moneymaker. It's not the best highlighting it like that. So something to think about. Do look at that sort of that additional metric of how much money you are paying per click. And just looks like I've smudged it. Anyway, you guys get the picture. So something really cool to think about. Now I am going to just kind of show you guys, for those of you who haven't seen attribution and what this would look like, let me just pop in here quickly. You've been following me a lot, you probably have, but it doesn't hurt to get like a little refresher here. Dun, dun, dun. Just gonna pop over to a good ad. I've not looked at my own personal ads recently. These poor things. This ad was really cooking for a while, so we'll look at this time period. Perfect. All right. So here's an ad. So the green line in the attribution system is pages read, and the blue line is your number of clicks. So you can see that my number of clicks was hanging out around 50 a day, then bumped up to 100 a day. That's probably because I increased my my ad spend. And if we look at my KE and P read that the attribution system tracks, it is missing a lot of the reads, especially because this is a 16 book series. We have 21,000 pages read. We have 18,000 clicks. Just eyeballing it, that number is greater than 10. 21083 divided by 1841. So we're getting 11.45 pages read per click. And so what that tells me is that if if I have a CPC under 20, I'm paying less than 2 cents per click. And if I was to have another ad, that was getting double the pages read off the same number of clicks, but they were costing me more money, it wouldn't matter. Like could still actually be more profitable off of that. So this is the system I use for getting those numbers. And if I'm if you're in KU, generally what you do is you consider your sales just to be gravy. Because what you normally will see with sales is like we've got about, just shy of 2,000 clicks divided by 20. I'm a little bit under 100 clicks to make a sale. Totally normal for a KU ad, an ad to a KU book. Once you start getting up over like 130, 140, 150 clicks to make a sale, then you kind of wonder like, why aren't people buying my book? It might be because your price is too high. Who knows what? But if you're like a regularly like a $3.99, $4.99 KU book, you're going to get about one sale every 100 clicks is pretty normal. If you're wide, then your profitability doesn't start kicking in until you get below 50. Ideally, you want to be below 30 clicks to make a sale. Is where profitability lives there. Hey, Linda. First, I started an ad about 48 hours ago. I'm getting lots of clicks, and the CPC is down to 18 cents. I'm getting 0 pages read, 0 sales so far. Okay, I'll see if I can catch up in school. We also have the Q&A on tomorrow. So if we don't get to it, I don't get to it this afternoon because I do have a bunch of stuff going on. We can talk about it in school tomorrow morning. I didn't actually put in my calendar. I have to remember to do that. School Q&A. Shoot. I'm glad I just thought of that. I would have just lollygagged right through the thing. Calendar. Just pardon me while I do this. I have ADHD brain. If I don't do this right now, I will forget. Put this in. Q&A. There we go. Anyway, so 2 days. If you've watched a lot of if you watched the beginner Facebook ad course in school, by the way, Linda, because I do mention that a lot of times it will take you 3 days to see any data showing up at all in attribution, especially because it doesn't show today's data. So, you're only really looking at your data from yesterday, and you're not going to see any pages read or sales or anything like that show up in attribution within 1 day. There's a delay in the data processing for that system. So it's a separate type of titles help. Okay. So I would not fret. And if you haven't watched the beginner course video, I really recommend you do. I talk a lot. If you look at the last 2 videos where we talk about ad analysis, I talk a lot about how you can't make snap decisions within like a day or 2 after an ad starts running. Heck, if we were talking AMS ads, I would tell you to wait 2 weeks before you look at it. Okay, yeah. So if you watched it, you shouldn't be worried about it at the 48-hour mark. You just you gotta be chill, So you'll be okay. I don't know if the ad will be okay or not, but you'll be okay. You'll survive. All right. So I want to show you as well then, folks, the place where you can turn on desktop ads or desktop only. I don't have this turned on currently for the ad I'm about to show you. Maybe, you know what? I'm going to turn it on because it's kind of gone sour lately. In the last 30 days. Well, it did well like the last week, but then it's petered out again this week. Anyway, let me pop it up here. Okay, so when you are editing an ad, at the ad set level specifically, you can go down here into the placement section and you can change the ad to only show on desktop. Now, why does that make a difference, you think to yourself? Because if we were to look at like the placements breakdown on an ad, you discover that most of your action is on the mobile feed. You're not getting that much activity on the desktop. But what I think happens a lot on the mobile feed is that on people's mobile Facebook feed is that they click on ads, but if you're like me, you don't buy things on your phone that much. You like to kind of sit down at your computer and take a better look at things before you buy. It's not something you do on your phone too much. The other thing that happens a lot is that tracking breaks down on the phone a lot more because phones have a lot more, especially for people running Apple, anti-tracking stuff that kicks in when you click from one app to another. The tracking breaks down a fair bit. Now the attribution link shouldn't, but it seems to a little bit more often. And then the other thing that happens too is if someone has the Amazon app installed on their phone, well, you can't buy things on the Amazon app. So then they have to go and open up the page in a browser and then buy that way. So a little bit of the tracking breaks down, and I think it's a little bit of human behavior stuff that breaks down too. So I've found that for at least a couple of months with most ads, it's not a super long term thing because you'll burn through the audience a lot faster. You can take an ad and change it to only show on desktop. And you will need to make sure that your audience is still a good size. Like this particular ad couldn't do it because when I changed this to show only on desktop, my audience here goes all the way down to 169,000, which is way too small. So that won't do. But if I had one that was bigger, 5 or 6 million, and I turned off mobile, chances are I could still actually have a decent audience size. This one's like right at the cusp of like an acceptable audience. It's like right on the line for audience size. But that's how you can do it. And what you will get then is a lot of times you'll get clicks that seem to convert a lot better. That's how I was talking about how you might see a higher cost per click in many ways because an audience drops in size so much, but your pages read per click will climb so much and you'll end up with a much more profitable ad. Um, Another thing that I do sometimes too is I will take my age and I'll drop it down to 64. And this is something that I'll do on ads that don't seem to be converting that well. And this would be maybe an ad right here, 20 cents per click, 8 pages read per click. I'm not really converting that well. How can I make this thing convert better? It might, and you go and you look at your graph, we'll pop back here and we'll look at the graphs and we'll look at demographics and we'll see like, man, I am only getting people 65 plus clicking on this ad and it's not converting that well. Maybe I need to try and get a younger audience looking at this ad. So I go in, oops, which one did I want to be clicked on? Oh, is this one? Good. The green highlight on the weirdo test ad that's showing up here threw me off for a second. So I would go in here, change that to from 65 plus to 64, hit publish, and then we can see if maybe I can actually grab a younger audience that might be a little more voracious in the reads department. Also, this always gets me too. A lot of times Facebook will default to this month for your range, and you'll look at this and be like, what is wrong with these ads? Well, I've only got 6 clicks. It's like, oh yeah, that's 30 days. Let's just change that up so I don't completely freak out there. So some thoughts for folks there. Actually, you know what? We've got a bit of time. Let's take a look. Are you okay, Linda, if I look at your post right now and we just kind of go through it, through your data on screen, just in case I have any thoughts, any additional thoughts or anything like that. And of course, if anybody else has any questions too, I'd be happy to do that. It's kind of a counterintuitive. Yeah, it is, Jillian. You're absolutely right. Jillian says it's kind of counterintuitive that the 65 plus are the ones clicking, but I get it. Yeah, because if so many of your clicks are being chewed up by that 65 plus audience, but they're not converting, then you have to say like, what about the younger audience? Would they convert better? And sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is nope. All of the people that were reading were in that 65 plus audience. So it's something you can play with though and see how it works, and you can always switch it back, if it doesn't behave. All right, let's pop into Skool. For those of you who don't know, Skool is our community that we have, and we'll see what Linda has here for us. So less than 48 hours since I launched my ad. My ad spends only $14.50 so far, but my attribution link is telling me 0 sales and 0 reads, which is corroborated by my sales page. About 400 pages read yesterday, but I believe they're from other sources. I haven't sold a book since before launch yet. Here in KU, sales are really lumpy. I don't tend to gauge anything by sales when I'm in KU. CPC 74 clicks, frequency is already up to 1.51. I wouldn't worry about your frequency being up. That's fine. It's normal for an ad to do that because what Facebook is doing is they're testing. Frequency is like in this given time frame, which in this case is 48 hours. On average, how many times have people seen the ad? And it's like the average person has seen the ad 1.5 times, which means every other person has seen the ad twice, which is fine because it takes multiple exposures for people to actually convert. When should I give up and turn it off? I should be seeing at least some reads yet. No, you should actually not be seeing reads yet because the system, even in the KDP dashboard, that can also be delayed by up to 3 days. Actually, I've seen the KDP dashboard be delayed. Sometimes when Amazon's having processing issues, it can be delayed by like a week. And I've had some like events where I was able to track that because I was driving massive traffic and got a huge read spike, but it happened like a week later than the massive action that I drove to a given book or the big sale or something like that. Um, so brand new book, brand new pen name, new sales account, new Facebook page, that matters. How many reviews did the book have? Because that could affect things. The review count on a book affects conversion rate too. Well, a lot of times what I'll tell people is try to get like 10 reviews on a book before you do paid advertising. Another thing too is this is a brand new book with a brand new pen name. That means it's book one in a series, and there's going to be zero read through. So do keep in mind that you are probably not going to be profitable with this ad under any circumstances. This ad is going to be an audience building ad for you. You'll get people reading and you build an audience, or actually any ad running to this book will be an audience building ad, not a profitability ad. The number of authors I've encountered who can be long-term profitable with paid advertising on just one book, I could count on one hand. It's super rare. One rating, no reviews. Yeah, I would work on. Do you have like an ARC team for this that you can hit up? Like from your other series, you have maybe a couple of readers you think from your other pen name that might like this. I would try to get some reviews on this. Conversion with no reviews, conversions will just inherently be lower. There's kind of no two ways about that. But that being said, nothing about your metrics alarms me, and I would give it until tomorrow afternoon before I made a go no go decision. If you see any reads start to come in by tomorrow afternoon, then I would let it ride. I would leave it up for the weekend and then see what things look like after the weekend. If it's like at the end of the day, afternoon tomorrow, like 4 or 5 o'clock, it's still showing you zilch, then turn it off for the weekend. And then just you can leave it off and you can then check attribution on Monday and see if any reads spend and whatnot on it. Okay, second book up for pre-order. That's good. I was hoping you would have something like that. Victoria says, what if my ad cost was high? My page. What if my ad cost was high, but my pages read were high? Do you mean? I'm curious what you mean by you wondered. Do you know if they were high? I mean, if your pages read are also high, then it's good. If your pages read are not high, then definitely not good. I'm gonna leave this out so I can put a little comment in here for if anybody else sees it. Oh, wait. Kendra has a cartoon that she made about ads, and now I want to see this. Oh, I like that, Kendra. That's actually really funny. And now you also have to figure out what your cost per page read is too. So you and your poor cat are going to have to do a little bit more data. I'm glad your coffee cup survived as well. Although I'm amused by the fact that there are 3 coffee cups on the desk. I feel like that is very indicative of the writer life. Got to have 3 cups on there. Well, you got to do the math. That's for sure before you find out. Right. Angel says, for Romance, have you had success running Instagram Reel ads? Absolutely. That's one of the genres that they can actually do really well in. Because basically, if you have a readership under 40, then Instagram Reel ads can actually work pretty well for you. If your readership is primarily over 40, then video is not going to work as well. I think I can turn this off now. I'll just pop back to me. So yeah, if your readership is under 40, and Romance generally is, then you can do very well running Instagram Reel ads. If you have like a genre and you can put together a video that really appeals to that younger audience, even today, you can get sub 10 CPC ads pretty reliably by hitting Instagram. For those of you who weren't here at the beginning, this is actually Lunch with Mal. Mal is eating. I'm sorry. I normally try not to do that, but I'm starving. Oh, that's interesting. I would need to see a screenshot of that, but I wouldn't put it here if I were you. Man, that almost seems like did you log into your account from a new location you don't normally log into your account from or something like that? I've never seen that exact message before. But the fact that they think your account might have been compromised is kind of weird. Um, we have an account security page. Where is it here? They have like a page that actually like walks you through making sure your account's secure, but I can't find it. That's just a help article. Help, security tips. I'll look. Maybe I'll look around see if I can find it. But there's oh, here we are. Security checkup. I think you have to use it on your on the phone. That's why. But there's this page just can actually give you some tips to walk through a security checkup on your phone on your account. Just if I saw a message like that saying that my ads were paused because my account might have been compromised, I would like warning. I would be really worried that my account actually had been compromised. That would scare me quite a bit. Oh, okay. Well, that's probably it then. But you might want to look at the security checkup um, that you can run. Um, and actually that page I linked to actually has a little link. It's kind of like not super clear, but the top has a little link that says start security checkup, and you can walk through security checkup on your account. Because especially for me, I am ultra paranoid about my Facebook account because I have access to like 300 people's Facebook ads. Although I do try to remind people that when they no longer work with us, because lots of people do like they'll do like a one-on-one engagement with us for a while where we teach them some stuff. I do try to remind them like, hey, when you're done, remove me from your account so that you are not an ongoing security burden for me. um, you always have me add back in later. But yeah, it is in general. I think we're always kind of worried about like whether or not we're going to be able to be profitable running Facebook ads, or it's a good time to run Facebook ads. And normally this is like a great time to run Facebook ads. Um, but like I said at the beginning, it is a little bit more expensive right now than than it has been in the past. It is worth noting that we are about to come up on a bit of a dry spell for Facebook ads as well. Not to say that they don't run, but it's just like it's a bit of a trickier time. New ads might not find the right audience. Part of it depends on whether or not you advertise more to men or women. Um, because this is a time of year where a lot of times women see a bit of an extra burden than men do. Not exclusively, though. There's lots of men who also have an extra burden this time of year. And it kicks off around Mother's Day when college is let out. And we have college graduation ceremonies. We also then move into the phase of kids getting out of school and childcare time increasing. And what happens a lot of times is that childcare increase that happens when kids start getting out of school, and that this phase kicks off around Mother's Day and then goes through toward the end of June, um, where grandparents might be doing a lot more babysitting and whatnot for a while, and that goes into actually kind of starts to peter out till mid July. Because that's when a lot of family vacations start happening instead, and that burden on grandparents to watch their kids goes down a bit. Um, 'Cause some of this is like anecdotal and estimated stuff. Some of this is based on sort of like general advertising knowledge of how people's time kind of works. But usually from Mother's Day until about the second week of July is a time where you might not get ads converting quite as well as they used to. Then from the second week of July till like the second to third week of August is actually a great time for ads. Ads usually surge in that 4 to 5 week period. And then as you approach the end of summer, I can't believe it's May 1st, and I'm now talking about the end of summer. Um, as you get toward the end of summer, things start to dial back a bit. People are on those like last family vacations. Parents are out shopping for back to school supplies, driving their kids to college. All that sort of stuff goes down. And then second week of September, things are pretty stable again, and we actually start at that point that good March on up to the Christmas times, which are usually pretty good. So that's kind of what goes on. But do keep that in mind. I don't even know when Mother's Day is this year. I should really know that. Um, what is it, like the 25th? I have no idea. I never remember. Eva will tell us. Eva knows. Anyway, that's our daughter. Just something to think about. But we've got about 3 solid weeks before that downturn starts to hit. And again, it's going to be a little bit of a downturn in conversions that you're probably going to see. Linda says, my next issue is trying to figure out how to convince Meta to stop charging my PayPal every time I hit a $3 spend. Speaking of payments, that's interesting. How long have you been running ads for? Because usually they'll do it. I've never heard $3. I've heard of them doing it every $10. Usually they stop after you've made a few payments or like a month's worth of payments or something like that. We kind of tempted to put a credit card in there instead. But good luck with that. It can be all less than 48 hours on this account. Okay, that's why. It should smooth out soon. But I've also never heard of them doing every $3. So that's kind of weird. But hopefully it calms down pretty soon. So yeah, I kind of talked about stuff I want to talk about. Look at that, got it done. So some things to think about, like I mentioned before, is that that'll figure out your cost per page read when you're looking at those more expensive ads before you freak out, because if they're getting really good page read per click, then you might actually end up you might have an ad that's actually working really well even though it's more expensive. So do think about that. That could really be worth considering. And for those of you who are in school, we have writing sprints starting today in about an hour and a half at 2 p.m. Eastern. And then tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern, we have the Facebook ads Q&A. So even though it's like ostensibly connected to the advanced Facebook class, you can show up with any Facebook ad question that you have, whether it's something that from the class or just something you're curious about in general. You can show up and ask that. So Julian says, are the instructions to figure out cost per page in one of the Facebook sections in school? No, they're not. I've talked about it verbally a number of times, but I never actually like wrote it out like this. But I'll walk through it again just quickly, just in case you didn't see it before. So the first part is in lots of the Facebook ad stuff in school, where you take this is what this ad did this month. And then I kind of gave it a kick in the pants, and it's like, yeah, that's nice. And it died out on me again. It's also like I just turned on an ancient ad for a class. So although it is worth noting, like it's kind of neat to see that, like, hey, if I kick this back to March, that actually did fairly well through March. This, like I said, this is an ad that like I turned off, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and then just turned it on again while I was doing a class just to show some examples and stuff. I mean, I copied everything in it, so it wasn't like an ad that was just turned back on, but it was the exact same everything. Anyway, so to get your pages read per click, you take your KENP and you divide it by click-throughs. And then once you've done that, you're going to get how many pages read per click that you have. And then to figure out what the like this, to figure out what your that's the percent sign, Mallory. What are you doing here? To figure out how much it's costing you per page click, you just divide the cost per click on the ad by how many pages read per click you got, and that will give you how many cents how many cents you paid per page read. So of course, the lower you get that, the better. And you can see here how some ridiculously expensive CPCs can actually yield you really good cost per page read if you're getting a lot of them. So a little bit of a summary there for you. All right. Well, I will see you guys around. I'll see you next Thursday if you come back for lunch with Mal then. And if you have Facebook, come to Facebook Ads Q&A, you're in school. You can come join that tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern. And also writing sprints today in about an hour and 15 minutes. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Hope you have a fabulous weekend, even if it's raining where you are, like it's going to be here. Ciao.